Hey, we getting next year's class start earlier. At least it appears that way. I'm doing things a little bit different than I did last summer. You see, last summer I waited to finish each prospect, and then I released videos kind of in chunks right before the season. This year, I'm just gonna, as I finish a position, I'll release a video. So you're gonna get them throughout the summer. But yeah, gotta start big with the quarterback position. You're gonna get my top 10 in this video, but before the season I will have a draft guide available for y'all if that's something you want. You'll be able to see my full prospect rankings, and for this video I've gone through 28 different quarterback prospects. So yeah, I've gone into this class quite a bit already. But what's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. As always, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that nice, beautiful football discourse. I will give y'all a bonus prospect at the end because I know I'm going to see his name a lot in the comments. But let's get this started with number 10. Tyler Van Dyke. He's back on the list. Didn't have the most ideal 2022 season. As you can see, he didn't even break 2,000 passing yards, only 10 tutties, but he did miss 3 games last year with a right shoulder injury that plagued him most of the season, but we were kind of expecting that kind of the breakout season from him, and that didn't come, but it can come this year because I believe in the talent. I believe in the arm strength. I know he's listed as an early day 3, but come on guys, he's 6'4", 224, and the dude's a former pitcher. He pitched back in high school, and you can kind of tell from his throwing motion it's a bit elongated, but the dude has the zip. He can layer passes all over the field, man. He's just got good touch like that. I like him when he's playing in rhythm. He's just deadly. He shows flashes of anticipation. He has a quick processor. Just go to the Virginia Tech game in 2022 if you really want a good example of that. He has plus athleticism for his size. I wouldn't say it's outstanding, but like once he gets rolling, the dude is hard to stop. He can maneuver the pocket, I think, fairly well, and he's got a fairly decent sense of pressure. He can extend plays with his feet, but don't expect him to get too many big gains off of the ground. But yeah, the dude's footwork needs work. His timing, it needs work. There weren't many checkdowns in the offense in 2021, and with the new offense this past season under Cristobal, he needs to work on just being able to go through progressions and taking the checkdowns when he needs to. He didn't have too many answers post snap, especially against pressure, and I mean that's going to be a common theme along this top 10, that these guys need to get better against pressure. Like if we look at his adjusted completion percentage last year, granted, this is like a 9-game sample size. It was sub 60%. He had 6 turnover-worthy throws, went under pressure, but I really do think he could come out and maybe break out this year in some shape or fashion and maybe be a day 2 guy. Then number 9 on the list is Cameron Ward out of Washington State, and this one's a bit of a projection on my part. It really is. I got a 4th round grade on him. He had a very stellar year in his first year in Power 5 play. Like if you're not familiar, like this cat was unranked, unrecruited out of high school, went to Incarnate Word and set all kinds of records for the next 2 years. And then last year started all 13 games for Washington State, a Power 5 school there in the Pac-12. And I look forward to seeing that next step in his development. However, in terms of the Washington State offense, not much of it's going to prepare him for the NFL. And that's kind of the hiccup I have with maybe evaluating him as a prospect. But the dude's got good mobility. He's got a rocket for an arm. He's capable of throwing on all levels of the field. He throws with good zip. He can put the ball in the tightest of windows, especially toward the sideline. He throws with confidence. He uses his mobility to extend plays, and he does a good job of not necessarily staying on any 1-2 read for too long. And Honestly, most of the time, man, he's mentally in the pocket, man. He's willing to stand in there and absorb hits while trying to make a throw. However, as good as an athlete he is, and he is, man, he uses that mobility to extend plays. He when things start to break down, he does hold on to the ball just way too long, and it's just like, yo, you're quick, you're fast, go pick up yards with your feet. Like, he doesn't want to quit on the play, but he needs to settle for the easy yards every now and then. Also, as a passer, the ball placement isn't exactly ideal, and you kind of notice this downfield when he pushes it. Like, part of it is his throws will need more touch. He needs to learn how to layer those balls. That sounds dirty, but I mean, it is what it is. That's what he needs to figure out how to do that. I mean, there's a lot of passes where he'll put it on a rope, put too much pepper behind it, and it doesn't really need that. Like, you could give your receiver a better chance if you again just put a little bit more touch on it. But he gets toesy in the pocket, so he doesn't always throw from a consistent base inside the pocket. There's some times where that confidence he has in his arm gets him in trouble. He's more willing to throw into double teams because he's like, I can make that throw. And it's like, but should you make that throw? Should you? So there are some things like the decision making wasn't that good. 21 turnover worthy plays last season. So a lot of things in terms of polish needs to get better with him. And I'm just kind of curious, how will it in that offense for Washington State? And then number 8 on the list is my dude from last year, DJ Uiagalelei. At Oregon State now, I know a lot of people, the dude had a hell of a stretch at Clemson. And then things hit a brick wall in that Syracuse game, and it just felt like it all went downhill. Now, listen, this dude was a former 5-star recruit. The pedigree is there. He was the top player in the 2020 class. As a freshman, he managed to make 2 starts when Trevor Lawrence. There we go. I was like, who's Clemson's? Oh yeah, that guy, the guy with the hair. Trevor Lawrence went down, and he actually was very good in those games against Boston College, Notre Dame in 2021. He started all 13 games, kind of mixed results. And to be fair, in 2022, he started the year strong. Got benched against Syracuse after, I believe it was a pick 6. Was it 2 pick 6s? It wasn't 2 pick 6s. It had to just be 1. But he remained the starter, and then he got benched again. And I think it was the season finale. I can't recall, but to be fair, it was a first time OC there at Clemson, and what was his Brandon Streeter, right? And the offense was very vanilla. It really there wasn't. It didn't really find ways for receivers to get open, and it really relied on, just be good. And to be fair, Clemson's recruiting at the receiver position as of late has not been on par on what it has been years past. So to ask those guys, just get open, it wasn't fair. So unfortunately, DJU here was forced to throw into some of the tightest windows. And we could take a look at some the bad when it comes to him. He was very conservative with the football. He just held on to it for too long, especially if he just didn't see it. And fun fact, when your receivers aren't getting separation, you're going to have a hard time seeing it, though the NFL does expect, okay, not everyone's going to be open all the time. Sometimes you got to throw your guys open or whatnot, or just throw it away. When faced with pressure, he really struggled. He forced a lot of throws last year, 50.9 adjusted completion percentage and 5 turnover worthy throws. When under pressure, he relies too much on his arm, needs to add a little bit more hip rotation with that, maybe shorten his stance a bit, because there are times you see a little heel click in there, and he doesn't consistently throw, or he doesn't throw from a consistent base all the time, and you can see he's a bit antsy in the pocket because there wasn't that trust there with the offensive line. That was it just wasn't playing well. He had Jordan McFadden, and that was it. The other 4 guys, weren't that good. They just weren't that good. And I truly believe his lack of accuracy is a bit overblown. Because you look at his adjusted completion percentage last year, 71.6%. That's not bad. The ball placement isn't exactly ideal. I will concede that there are times where he will overthrow, and there are times where he hits pass catchers on the wrong shoulder. But this dude has one of the biggest arms in the class. He is capable of most NFL throws, and he can actually put some real nice touch on those throws. And he's now going to an offense that is going to ask him to make multi-reads, go through progressions, and it's more in line what he's going to see in the NFL. So like, he's got everything to gain. Like, the dude's got good size, great size, 6'4", 251. He's a power runner too, man. Like, he's mobile, he can pick up yards with his feet. Like, the contact balance is actually pretty darn good. He does a good job of selling fakes with his shoulders. He has good head movement to trick or lure in defenders in coverage. And man, he hardly put a ball in the middle in harm's way. And typically you see that from just not very good passers, where even like above average passers, some may struggle over the middle. He wasn't one of those guys. And character, man. This guy's got character for freaking days. When he was benched both times in Syracuse, and then I think it was South Carolina, like, he threw the headset on. He was super encouraging to Cade Klubnik, and like, the Clemson coaching staff had nothing but praise, and just spoke really highly of the man, DJU. So I'm still willing to bet on him. We'll see this year. Again, all this is a bit projection on my part, but I mean, when you look at him from an analytical standpoint, it's like, it's not nearly as bad. And when you go back and look at the tape, I mean, it wasn't all great after the Syracuse game, but I think it gets overblown a little bit. All right, number 7, we got Bo Nix himself. He will be 24. I probably should note some of the ages of these guys. He'll be 24 by the time he gets to the NFL. He was a very highly sought out recruit, 6'2", 214. He was a 4-star, and his father played at Auburn, so that's why he went to Auburn. At least I think that played some part in it. It was also just generally great athlete. Played baseball, played basketball. He was an early starter there at Auburn. Eventually makes the transfer to Oregon last year, started all 13 games, and kind of revitalized his potential draft stock. He really did, because the dude's got a great arm, solid build, consistently pushes the ball downfield with both touch and zip. He can throw at different angles in terms of arm angles. There's a lot of elasticity. Is that what the word I'm looking for? His arm is a bit rubbery. There we go. Bright. We use big words on this channel. But this dude's really at his best when he's in rhythm. He shows good timing, good anticipation. He delivers the ball well on the short to intermediate. He is good at kind of, again, luring in defenders with his eyes, his head, his shoulders. Just good at manipulating him from that standpoint. The mobility is just a huge plus. 14 rushing touchdowns last year. It's kind of bonkers. He can continually extend plays with his feet. He can pick up yards with his feet. He has the speed, the change of direction to just be a nuisance. He does those things with such ease, and when thrown on the run, he maintains that velocity he can throw with. Like, he can create outside of structure. Now, for a dude that has all the tools, it feels like we're still scratching the surface in terms of him putting it all together. The decision making, I still think, is all over the place. It was better in the second half of the season for Oregon, but you go to that Georgia game, man, and just throwing this ball up the seam and just not even seeing the defense underneath, man. It was just such a bad call, man. Too often he really forces the ball to his first read, in spite of what he's seeing from the defense. It's just a really bad habit of his. His mechanics need a little fine tuning. He relies too much on solely just the arm, and doesn't necessarily show great hip rotation all the time. His accuracy is a bit spotty. The ball placement, I don't think he's really, at least consistently shown good ball placement, and too often he bails the pocket prematurely. Like, he had a good offensive line there at Oregon last year, and still you were seeing it was like, man, why are you bailing from this clean pocket, man? Especially when he runs, like, he keeps his eyes down, man. Like, he's looking, like, when he moves out the pocket, he's looking to run. You know, you want your guys to be looking downfield. But yeah, like, I get why people are still on the Bo Nix train, and depending on what we see this upcoming season, I kind of see him as, I don't know, man. Maybe he gets have Bo or that Will Levis level. We will see. And then number 6 is JJ McCarthy out of Michigan. And I was pretty confident after like seeing him, like watching him throughout the season, not having like an actual like I didn't sit down and like study him during the year, but just watching. We did a bunch of watch alongs. I was like, man, I feel like I'm going to be lower on this guy than probably the general consensus. And I mean, that's yet to be seen. I don't think Todd McShay had him in his first round. So I guess maybe I'm not the only one that's not incredibly high on him. I got a midday 2 grade because it really depends if he takes that next step up. It really does. Like, last year he was a first year starter. So it was like, okay, and they kind of slowly opened the playbook with him. But then, I mean, so I can't wait to see what 2022 holds. But from what I've seen thus far, man, there's still question marks. Didn't see too many touch passes from him. I don't think he processes the field, at least consistently, well. He'll stare down hot reads, and if they aren't open, he'll just hit the check down or run the football himself because he's a very gifted athlete in his own right. He is inaccurate. He is inaccurate. I'm not saying like terribly, but like, man, the ball placement just isn't always ideal. I thought he really struggled over the middle of the field, mainly on the shorts intermediate. And sometimes his mechanics really, I think, his inaccuracies were mechanics related. Because I was able to catch the spring game, and I kind of saw some of this. He kind of has a short step on his release, which will just really rely more on the arm than rather getting torque behind the hips. He also positions his arm inside when stepping into the pocket, opposed to just his normal throwing motion. And I think some of that comes from last year, where he had a lot of fumbles because he liked to hold the ball out there loosey-goosey. So some of that's just going to need to, like, I think that's more of a mental thing with him. So it's like some of it's going to need polish. Again, this is just the spring game. We're going to kind of take it with an ounce of salt, and we'll wait to see what he has in the season. But the dude's got a good arm. He throws with a ton of zip, like spirals, lasers. It's just that happens to be his only throw. Very good athlete, like just a dangerous runner, extends plays with his feet. What I like most, the dude does keep his eyes downfield when rolling out. He's definitely better inside of structure than I was expecting when I got into his deep dive. And like, all in all, man, as like the season went on last year, you could definitely tell he got more comfortable throwing in the pocket. He was more willing to step into it rather than just trying to roll out. So I was very, very surprised at how well he was inside of structure. Like, all in all, man, again, first time starter. I'm eager to see what he does in year 2, and we're going to talk about actually quite a few other first time starters as we get further up the list. But let's go ahead to the top 5 here. I got KJ Jefferson, and this one's going to be interesting because, in all honesty, that offense is not, I don't think a lot of it's translatable to the NFL. I really don't. Like, it's tailor-made to his ability. And I mean, okay, let's just get to his ability real quick. He's 6'3", 246, had 9 rushing touchdowns last year. I think he had 700 yards rushing. I don't know. He did miss a game last year because of a shoulder injury, but the dude is 6'3", 246. He's built like a freaking racehorse. I know people are gonna look at that size and be like, "Oh no, Anthony Richardson," and I don't think he's entirely like, he ain't the athlete Anthony Richardson is. He really ain't. But I get it. He's got a big arm and he's tough to bring down. Like, this dude eats contact. Like, he's got breakaway speed, but he really eats contact. He really shows patience as a runner. Like, he's got legit vision. But yeah, he's got the huge cannon. Like, consistently, you saw this guy push the ball 40 yards downfield with hardly no effort. He can throw with zip. He can throw with touch. Outside of structure, he doesn't instantly turn into a runner, which is what I like. I like a guy that outside structure will still keep his eyes downfield. Like, I really do like that. He can throw effortlessly off platform, and the dude just simply creates. He is a playmaker, legitimately a playmaker. And my biggest question was like, man, okay, this offense that is made for Jefferson, like, how translatable? Am I looking at a guy that can maybe legitimately be a really good quarterback at the NFL level, or am I looking at someone who will go like the Tyree Jackson route, Logan Thomas route, and end up being like a tight end or something? Because like the offense is made to take advantage of his ability as a runner. He isn't asked to do many things that translate. That I would say translate. As an NFL passer, you see a lot of play actions, a lot of screens, a lot of quick throws, not a lot of multi progression things are happening in this offense. He does hitch a little bit when throwing the football, which just kind of means he's taking like a step forward. Not the worst thing in the world. I mean, there's a lot of guys in the NFL that hitch, so it's not a big thing. Wasn't really asked to do anything pre-snap, but straight up, the accuracy ball placement is iffy. Statistically, it was better than Anthony Richardson's, but I don't think it really was. I don't know. He's going to be a guy to watch. He will be older than Anthony Richardson was when he came out. Obviously, Anthony Richardson, he was like 21. KJ Jefferson will be 23 during his rookie season in the NFL. So, a wonderful athlete, man. Definitely someone to watch out for. But man, it's legitimately going to be interesting for him. Like, because this was, I wasn't expecting to like. Well, I guess to like KJ Jefferson as much as I ended up, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm not entirely confident with his placing on this list. But again, it's preseason. We got a whole year to evaluate these guys. But I am pretty confident with my top four here that they all have really good chances of being first rounders. We're gonna start with Quinn Ewers out of Texas. I got him as a top 20 grade, and a lot of this is going to be how he plays this year. Last year was his first year as a starter. Unfortunately, he missed 3 games because of a clavicle sprain in the non-throwing shoulder. But I thought he was pretty darn good last year, man. There was a lot I liked about him. Like, he just has a ridiculous arm, quick release. Like, he makes throws look way too easy at some points. He could throw with, or at least throw at different velocities, from different angles with like no hitch, which is kind of the wild thing. Like, you're rolling out off platform, pause, take that step, or plant your feet, and just throw that sucker. Not dynamic as a runner, but the dude extends plays with his feet. Keeps his eyes downfield, which I love that. I really do. And man, there's a lot to like about him. It's just, man, he throws with so much confidence in his arm. Like, he threw into double coverage more times than I actually liked. When throwing outside of structure or on the move, his accuracy does slip a little bit sometimes, where he'll overlead receivers. It gets worse when he's under pressure. And that's going to be something you're going to see with these next two guys as well. Like, like under pressure last year, he typically his adjusted completion percentage was in the like low 70s. It dropped to the high 50s when under pressure. He was a totally different quarterback. And to be fair, like he's kind of in a quarterback friendly offense. Like Steve Sarkisian's offense allows him to make a lot of easy reads. There's a lot of open passes, so he doesn't really have to go through a lot of progressions. Just watching like Texas, man, I was just like, golly, this scheme does such a good job of getting guys open. It really does. So that's why I got him here at 4, because I think the 2 guys ahead of him just really wowed me a bit more. And we'll get to my number 3 guy here being Jaxson Dart. And I think Dart's a lot closer to number 2 than he is to Ewers. I got a top 10 grade on him. It might be more of a top 15. Again, haven't gone through the other classes, so I'm just kind of like slapping grades where it's like, where I feel like I'd be willing to take this guy. As it stands right now, we still got a whole season to go. And I'm not going to lie to y'all, man. I was tempted to put Dart at number 2. So he comes at 6'2", 220. He was an all-state baseball player, 4-star recruit. He was initially at USC, basically took the job from Keaton Slovis, and then the coaching staff turned over. Lincoln Riley came in. Lincoln Riley brought his quarterback, Caleb Williams, which we'll talk about him. And that's when Dart was like, yeah, you know what, I'll just transfer and see where I can go for maybe a starting job. And he goes to Ole Miss, started week 1 versus Troy, was kind of a little iffy. Came off the bench against Central Arkansas, looked really good, was a starter for the rest of the season. And I got a lot to say about Dart. Because like the first 2 games I watched of him was LSU, which was supposed to be, at least from PFF, his worst game. And I didn't entirely walk away from that thinking it was a bad game by him. And then Texas Tech, which was one of his like turnover-worthy play high games. And didn't walk away entirely feeling that he was at fault for them losing that game. Now, Dart, the dude has the frame. He has the frame. 6'2", 220. That's about your quarterback's frame in the NFL. There's a little question about the arm talent. Quick release, knows how to layer the ball on all levels of the field. He can throw with some mustard on it as well. His ball placement is nice. He puts it where his pass catchers can create after the catch. I really like that. He goes through reads pretty quickly, and there are some anticipation throws there as well. Something I noticed was like so many drops. This baffled my mind. Like there was like 4 drops in the LSU game. And PFF didn't have any recorded drops. And I was like, There was like, I saw one in the end zone by the tight end. I think Mingo had a bad one. And it was like he was consistently let down by his offensive line and receivers. Going to the Texas Tech game, man. Like when he's trying to battle back, he throws a nice ball up the seams. I want to say it was Watkins from Ole Miss that caught it. It wasn't Heath. It wasn't Migo either. So yeah, it was Watkins. Fumbles the football. And it's like, well, crap. And it's just like, man, like the dude's ball placement's nice, man. It really is. And I like his feel for pressure, like his ability to move in and out of the pocket. He isn't the quickest athlete, but he's just slippery. He really is. Shows good vision. His contact balance is also much better than you would expect. He's got a nice straight arm, stiff arm, and he keeps his eyes downfield even when scrambling, man. And that's something I've kind of said as we've talked about this list that I really like. But he does throw with a bit of an ego. There's times where he'll miss guys underneath. Doesn't matter how tight the coverage is. Sometimes he's like, I can make that throw, and he tries to. There's a lot of hitching when it comes to him, which against better defenses last year, it kind of mattered because he was getting a lot of balls batted, or he was giving defenders like he was basically just alluding to where he was going to go with the ball. He can probably do a better job pre-snap of anticipating where pressure is going to be or where a blitz might come from. That's something I noticed. Like Perkins or Harold Perkins for LSU had a field day because they just weren't picking up where he was blitzed from. It was kind of obvious at times. This dude like coming from kind of like the slot area, and it's like there's no one out there. There's no one out there. Like, dude, move your running back over or something to pass block. Give yourself some time. But like again, the offensive line was pretty bad last year as well. Like, and I'll say this dude is a competitor. He is tough as freaking nails, but he needs to do so much better of a job protecting himself. The LSU game, gets banged up, comes back in though. The Texas Tech game, he gets banged up twice. One caused a fumble, the other, and he, to be fair, it was like 3rd and 6, and ended up fumbling. It's like, I get it. You're trying to fight for those extra yards. And the other one was a tumble into the end zone. It's like, these are such situational, but it's like, just don't put yourself at risk. Because he got beat up a lot last year. But I know, man, maybe Spencer Sanders somehow comes in and wins the starting job. I'll be shocked if it happens. Then okay, we won't be looking at Dart as a prospect in this year's class. He's obviously going to wait a year, but I really think Dart. I think it's really going to be a battle for QB2, much more than some people anticipate. Because number 2 currently on my list is Drake Maye, and honestly, I don't think he's that much better than Dart. I really don't. Maye was a 4-star recruit from the 2021 class. He played basketball in high school, averaged 16 points and 11 rebounds, so not half bad. He's got athletes in his blood. His father played football at North Carolina. He's got 3 brothers. 2 played basketball at North Carolina. I think actually one's currently still playing basketball at North Carolina. And then he had a brother who won a baseball championship with Florida. So he's got a pedigree. And last year, first-year starter. And the dude won many awards. Many stinking awards, man. Also made first team all ACC. Like, the stats were insane. 37 tutties, 7 interceptions, 7 rushing touchdowns, 6'4", 225, ideal frame, really good arm. He can push the ball downfield on a rope. He can do it with touch. Some of the best throws, in my opinion, were around the red zone area, as he would just kind of like breadbasket that sucker or throw it, kind of like loop it over into the breadbaskets of his receivers in the back of the end zone. I just loved it. He processes the field relatively quickly, runs through reads effectively, shows decisiveness when he should tuck and go, and I didn't see too many ill-advised throws. What I did see, though, was a lot more misses than I expected, because I think his like adjusted completion rate, which if you don't know, I keep referencing adjusted completion rate. Basically, adjusted completion percentage takes out the rollaways, spikes, and drops. So these are playable balls. Pause. Let's keep going. Anywho, but yeah, I was like, man, there's a ton of underthrows, and it kind of shocked me. It took me back a little bit. I was like, He's also a bit toesy in the pocket. He won't always plant the front foot and throw from a consistent base. This causes some inaccuracies, so I think that might be a bit of the issue. Let's see if that's something he works on this season. I also noticed there are times he drifts in the pocket and he drifts towards pressure in the pocket, and I'd like to see a better feel for pressure. And because I mean, you look at it, man, he had 7 fumbles that were results from pressure. He had 11 turnover-worthy throws that were resulted from pressure. So somewhere that's an aspect I think I would really like to see him get better at. And I do kind of want to lean Jaxson Dart. He's the younger guy, strangely enough, which is kind of wild to me. But he's the younger guy. Not by much, but he is. But number 1 was always going to... I don't think any quarterback comes close to Caleb Williams in this class. He's your first overall pick. Caleb Williams is literally the best quarterback prospect in this class. And in my opinion, it's not even close. It really isn't. It really isn't. He was former 5-star recruit from the 2021 class. Great guy, by the way. Let's just touch up on that. Like, first off, top-notch character. I know people look at his fingernails and be like, man, look at that. Like, look at that attitude he has on your fingernails. And it's like, I think that's more the competitive spirit. If you look into it, he used like his NIL money to create Caleb's Cares Foundation, which dedicates resources to causes like anti-bullying, mental health awareness, youth development. But also, he's got a really nice story where he in last season he paid out of pocket for two young boys who were Utah fans to attend the Pac-12 championship after we found out that they were going to be facing Utah. That he found out weeks earlier that these guys, they lost their father. So I was like, that sucks. So he bought tickets to the game for them to come see Utah lay the beat down. Not really. It was an alright game against USC for a second time in the season. But yeah, man, the dude's a good guy. He really is. And I kind of like him as a competitor, and I like the attitude. Now let's talk about these freaking gifts, man. There's a reason Spencer Rattler, man, got benched, because this guy was that freaking good. He led them back in that game for Oklahoma against Texas in the Red River Showdown, and now or shootout, whatever the heck it is. And now he's doing it in the Pac-12. Like, this dude's got a great arm. He throws from a great base. He whips the hips. He lays some serious mustard on the ball. In terms of strength and zip, the dude has it. He shows patience in the pocket. He surveys the field fairly quickly from one read to the next. He wants to play in the pocket. I like that. He'll step up and just gun it, man. He stays compact. He dips well. He avoids outside rushers well. And he's just special, man. This dude can improvise for days. He just has that special ability about him where when a play breaks down, he can avoid pressure, keep his eyes downfield, and look to make the big play, man. It literally looks like sometimes he's playing Madden. The ball placement was really good. He was plagued by drops last year too, so like if you're looking at the adjusted completion percentage, which still looks pretty darn good. Just keep in mind, man, some of his guys were dropping balls last year. The footwork in the pocket's really good. Never a waste of step. He accelerates so quickly. I mean, the dude's vision and mobility was just on display in their read option game. I will say there are times where he knows how good his arm is. He really does. And he'll try fitting balls into tight windows and other less ideal situations, whether it's across his body or off his back foot. But the dude has the arm velocity and accuracy to really make such throws. So you almost don't mind it too much. When under pressure, he does float backwards sometimes. And this again kind of leads to throwing off the back foot. I would like to see a bit more touch on his passes, because his deep balls are just missiles over the middle. But like, yeah, no, in my opinion, no one's touching this cat in this class. He's that freaking good. He really is. But that's not it for the video. I know I'm gonna see this in the comment section. I told you I was gonna give y'all a bonus, and I'm gonna see Michael Penix's name all over the freaking comment section. And I will tell y'all, I like him as a prospect. I think he has tools. I still think a bit more of a developmental guy, but he really strung together a really good year last year. Why he doesn't make my top 10 is he is a walk-in injury red flag. His first 4 years of collegiate football resulted in season-ending injuries. He didn't get through more than 6 games in a season before an injury. Granted, this was all at Indiana, but freshman year, suffered an ACL injury. 2019, suffered a shoulder joint injury. 2020, ACL injury. 2021, separated his shoulder, ended his season. Like, that's why he didn't make my top 10. And he's sitting at 11. Ha! So go figure. I thought he was going to sneak into the list so I could really get into him, but no, he just missed out. But like I said, before the season, I'll have a draft guide, my nice Google spreadsheet, which I have updated quite a bit, and I like how it looks. Available for y'all. It's no longer going to be on the Patreon. It's just going to be a one-time purchase, and you will have it from here till here and on after the draft, and you'll get to see it as I update it. So you'll kind of get to see like what guys maybe I'm going through or cycling through, and you'll see how things change. It'll have like 2023 analytics. It'll have pro day combine numbers. It'll have as much information at your fingertips as you need. And I guarantee you it will talk more. It'll be giving you more names than most draft guides out there. I'm not even going to try to compete with Dan Brugler. The beast is a different animal. But his comes out like 2 weeks before the draft. You get mine literally right before the college football season. But that's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing. As always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.